Welcome and welcome to our program On Point with Mr. Jerome Gayman as our chief discussant. In this edition of our program On Point, I'm Anthony C. moderating today. Mr. Jerome Gayman is the chief discussant in this program On Point, and welcome to our broadcast. Of course, this is focused on Liberia and On Point, where we discuss the hot political issues trending in the monoland, the Republic of Liberia. Welcome and welcome to our broadcast. Do that usual favor quickly by hitting that share button. And also to folks who follow us on YouTube, don't forget to hit that share button. Don't forget to invite somebody to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we still have a lot more to share with you. Responsible information dissemination is the business we are in, and you can count on us because we do it better, responsibly, and in a way where others are respected. My name is Anthony C.A., my partner and chief discussant for On Point, Mr. Jerome Gayman. Welcome to the broadcast, my friend. I want to believe you are on point today. If not, then it's a different story. How you doing?
As always, I'm always on point.
Okay.
And like we always say, the ever-ready battery, as you know, as a physician, we always ready and ready to take on any task and the questions and the issues. So basically, we are in the mode to fight and to push back. So whatever it is that you have within your arsenal, we are ready and prepared.
Mr. Jerome Gayman is the chief discussant here at Focus on Liberia program On Point. And you heard him, he does not hide his political identity. He is an apologist of the regime. He is an unabashed sedition. And you see him with his usual purple cup. And I continue to remind him that cup does not put bread on the table in Grand Cru and in Ninkru Town. So keep that cup away. Let's talk serious business. In this edition of our show with our chief discussant, Jerome Gayman, we are looking at campaign violence in Gayman County. What happened there? We will talk about it. Here, we talk about the issues. Today, the favorite senatorial candidate of the CPP, Dillion, launched today, and we will be looking at that launch and comparing it with the CDC launch that was called the Blue Day. Jerome is a seditious, and he will be analyzing those two events. We want to know what are the numbers or the crowd that we saw tell us anything about who's going to win. And also, we will be talking about referendum. There has been serious disagreement on both sides of the political aisle. We see people with the government and who support the government saying the referendum will go on, whereas legal minds who are passionate about the law are saying there are a lot of things that are completely wrong about the proposition, this referendum, and it should not go on because doing so will plunge us into some constitutional issues. Because they are arguing that some provisions or some articles in the Constitution also need to be changed. The procedure also is a major problem for some legal minds. But the president is saying he has broken no law and the referendum will go on as planned. Jerome will be quizzed on that. And finally, we will be looking at the senatorial midterm election nationally in Liberia. Which political groupings going to win majority of those seats that are up for grab? 15 of them in the 15 political subdivisions. Will CDC be smiling after December 8th? Or will the CPP be smiling with more candidates winning in the counties? And that is all that we got packaged for you, and you do not want to miss it because the chief political discussant of this program, On Point, Jerome Gayman, is prepared. Mr. Gayman, let's get started. Our viewers are anxious. Political violence, or campaign violence, as you call it, in Gayman. What do you know?
Well, from the offset, I have to follow the lead of the most populous president in the history of the Republic of Liberia, the astute Dr. George Mano, Wole, Bekube, Poro, Baro, Bar Village Medicine has just condemned the violence in Cape Mount. So all citizens and all, we are saying all patriotic Liberians should condemn what happened in Cape Mount, and the government should investigate and bring those that are responsible to book. So we need to get that out of the way. And now we need to go into what happened in Cape Mount based on preliminary report. I grew up in Cape Mount, so I am quite familiar with the Pokpa area, the Mano River area, the Cape Mount, the Rubber Sports area. Those are the three major divisions in the Cape Mount area. Basically, when you are talking about families, we are talking about several tough battles there, like New York City, where different crime families wanted to control the different turf. Excuse me.
Did you drive your Propo car?
Yeah, no, never drop my phone. The Propo cup, that would be sacrilege. You can't drop the Propo cup.
Oh, I wish that Propo car had dropped, man, because it's not putting bread on the people's table. But that's a joke.
Continue. It is. So what we are looking at there in the Fokpa area is the Masale family, and this guy they call Simeon.
Simeon Taylor.
Those two, huh?
Simeon Taylor, I heard.
Simeon Taylor, the followers of Simeon Taylor, and the Masale. The Masale is supposed to be the godfather in that area. So usually he does not like people to infringe on his territory. Samuel Taylor's and their groups, same thing. So this is something that had been brewing way before CDC came into being, way before politics. Politics just brought it to the fore. So what we are looking at there is way beyond politics. It is family rivalry. And as you can see, you will find out later on that that's what the case is.
So, but Mr. Gayman, you hold on. You are calling it family rivalry, and I have no knowledge of that family rivalry. So, Front Page reported on this. So, first of all, let's establish that there are two candidates. That is Waxing and Samuel Taylor. And,
that's correct.
Waxing having to be the candidate of the CDC. Is that correct?
Yes, he's the incumbent. That's correct.
Okay, so the incumbent is now the candidate of the CDC. But how did he become the candidate of the CDC? Because prior to that election, I don't think he was with CDC. What happened?
Well, CDC is a magnet, and just like our former matriarch, Ms. Pelham, a young blood, what she said, we need everybody who loves the CDC as a family to come in the United States. We Republicans, we call it a big tent. We need everybody under the tent. In Liberia, she paraphrased that, and she said we need to go back under the sycamore tree. So that tree is huge. And when Mr. Washington won the election in Cape Mount, obviously he gravitated towards the CDC, and he loved our policies and things that we stand for, and he decided he chose to be a part of the CDC.
Mr. Gayman, don't you think he felt intimidated by your political muscling and tactics that you used to intimidate people within the opposition and chose to join ranks with you to not be intimidated? Don't you think that's the case here? It's not about any magnet.
Well, Dr. George Weah, you know how magnetic the guy is. Everybody loves him. He is the political messiah, the one that is going to deliver Liberia from the abyss.
Mr. Gayman, let's stick to the issue of this campaign violence in Cape Mount. I know you're political messiah. I mean, you will have time to talk about how he is this messiah, and yet we know what's happening. But to the issue here quickly. So Waxing John, the CDC, so he is the CDC candidate, and Simeon Taylor is the CPP candidate.
That's
What's
correct.
being reported by front page is that supporters of Waxing, who having to be the CDC candidate, where they won, who moved on Simeon, who having to be the CPP candidate, they set the house ablaze, the house he was residing in, and that house actually is not for him, and even cars were set ablaze. Pompe is reporting also that guns were fired at the house before the house being set ablaze, including some cars. Is this the truth of the matter?
Well, front page is anti-George. We are anti-CDC paper. We know this. You understand that all I saw on the paper on the front page of front page are two cars being set ablaze. He didn't show any pictures. There were no evidence of who set the fire. It could have been sabotage. Taylor could have set, CPP could have set those cars on fire to blame the government. He said they were gunfire into homes. They didn't show no pictures of the home. I was even taken aback when I read the article about Sharif, the representative
the house that was set ablaze.
Yeah, in whose district and in whose house he actually made this report. But then as you read the report and we go further down, where was Mr. Salih when he was making the report? He
Mr.
was
Salih
in Monrovia.
He was in Monrovia.
He was in Monrovia. He's not even there, but he was narrating the story as though he was there, like a radio commentator, like a soccer commentator, play by play. It is false. We didn't see. We didn't see the house.
According to the article, hold on, Mr. Gayman. Mr. Gayman, according to the article, Mr. Gayman was called because the house got up by fire having to be his. And so that was when he was asked, and then he did explain that that was his house and that he had even communicated with not Waxing, but Simeon Taylor, that Taylor should get out of the house. He's even instructed his family to get out of this house. So it's not that he's writing the story. He was being asked by front page because his house has got to fire. And that's how the information came out. So what happened here is that the house was being attacked, guns being fired, cars being set ablaze, and people's being accused as supporters of Waxing who happen to be the CDC candidate. And you are saying or insinuating here that CPP supporters might have staged this attack?
It could be because there's no evidence other than cars being on fire. The homes. Did you see the home? Did you see the home that he's talking about?
Yes, I saw pictures of the home, Mr. Gayman.
And you saw the bullet hole through. So the house got to be in total terror. It got to be in total. Is it burned down to ashes? Because from what the congressman is saying, all the windows were shattered, the refrigerators were taken out of the house, and the entire house was set ablaze. So the only thing that should be remaining are the char. Okay.
So what
frame of the house.
Supporters of the CDC candidate, they not only fire guns or shot at this man's house, they looted the house. And I mean, this is what this man is reporting. That story has not been denied by anybody. Are you saying this is CPP staging it?
Listen, what I'm saying here, he was not in Gayman when it happened. So he is speculating. I am not in Gayman. You are not in Gayman.
But he talked to family members in Gayman.
Well, listen, and you're talking about third-party news here. Okay, he didn't see it. The family member he talked to said the house is burned to ashes, and you say you saw the house.
There are pictures of the house being set ablaze. There are pictures of the car, two cars for that matter.
I saw the car. Yes, I saw the picture of the car. If the house has been shot, he said all the windows were shot. So that means I don't know what kind of gun they have to shoot all the windows of a house, which he said they did. Then there were nobody. Everybody fled. They went ransacked the house, burned the house down. Are you seeing a charred picture of a house where only the pillows are there? Because when a house is set ablaze, all the windows, everything is broken and is burned completely down. We should be able to see only the char. Is that what you saw?
Mr. Gayman, yes, it's what you are doing. The president of the Republic of Liberia, President Weah, spoke about this. To his credit, he condemned the attack. You are not saying Why is he condemning the attack when he was not there? But the owner of the house who spoke to family members who were at the house when the incident started spoke to a newspaper and gave his account based on his conversation with the family. And you are saying we shouldn't believe him because he was not there, but you want us to believe the president. Are you
No,
not playing a double standard here?
no, the president is not blaming anybody. If you saw the letter you saw the condemnation letter, the president was very, very clear. He said those who are responsible. That indicates, told me, that the investigation is going on and they will get to the bottom of it. Don't be surprised that later on, when the investigation is done, that some of these stories that we all are parading here with may turn out to be totally different. That's all I'm saying. I am looking at seeing a home that is set ablaze, that is totally burned to the ground. We may see tomorrow, day after tomorrow, that may not be the case. There may have been fire here, there may have been window broken there, but there may not have been 10 or 15 windows in the house broken, set ablaze, everything looted in the house, and nobody, even though they saw a picture of the car being set ablaze, nobody saw people. There are cameras everywhere. Nobody saw people going into the house and walking away with refrigerators and beds and all of that. Nobody, you want all of this happen within the split second, and with all the cameras going around, and nobody was able to take picture.
Mr. Gayman, another aspect of this violence that took place, some people are looking at the source of this particular campaign violence, that the CDC candidate has this supporter who is quote unquote a businessman but has ties in Sierra Leone, and he has been in this habit of trucking Sierra Leoneans into Liberia to even register to participate in Liberia's election, because when his candidate, the CDC candidate, wins, he will tend to get some form of political favor for his business to thrive in Grand Cayman County. Uh, from what we see, some people are saying this is a true story. What do you know?
Well, listen, everybody, politics is about interest of business people that make contribution to particular campaign, got to the candidate. Of course, they have their interest. So I wouldn't say Mr. Masale doesn't have a particular interest. He has the right to do so. The Supreme Court in this country ruled that finance is free speech. So you can support any candidate of your choice, which he has done. The Taylors also, and their supporters, they have their choice. They invested in Taylor to concede the incumbent. But prior to that, there is the family rivalry and tough war that is going on in the Mana River Pokwa area, dominated by the Masalays. So we cannot say, you remember when during the election, we heard that Joseph Boyka is a Sierra Leonean and people were crossing over from Sierra Leone into Lofa to vote for him. These are all innuendos. These are all sometimes made up stories. Nobody is showing. From what I'm hearing, there were thousands of folks migrating, marching from Sierra Leone into Liberia, and I didn't see any picture of thousands of. You are talking about a stampede here. Thousands of people coming from Sierra Leone to vote in Gayman. Maybe you have some pictorial that I don't have, or video that I don't have. If you have those videos, you have those pictures, please show us people coming from Gayman, from Sierra Leone into Liberia and coming to vote. I want to see that. But this is what people do. This is what I'm saying. It is the challenger that is desperate. The CPP are desperate. They can see that this blue wave, this tsunami that is coming, is going to carry them. So they try to play up front.
So, Mr. Gayman, you are denying reports. Mr. Gayman, you are denying reports that there is a supporter of CDC candidate Waxing who has ties in Freedom, but is a businessman in Gayman and has been in this effort of trucking Sierra Leoneans into Liberia to vote for the CDC candidate that he supports. You are denying that this report is completely false and there's no truth to that at all? Is that what you're saying?
In the absence of physical facts, I cannot substantiate that. I don't think you as a journalist would be able to do that either. until you give me facts. Anybody can make a story. I can tell you, people were telling me that Nyomli Kanga was taking people from Bond County and Nima County, Sutton Magibi, to go into Grand Bassa County to vote for her. Well, they didn't send me any proof. I don't have any proof to substantiate that. It's only rumor. Until you or Front Page Africa or all the other opposition outlets can show us a picture of the migrating folks from Sierra Leone over the Mana River Bridge coming in to vote, I would take that as a political gimmick
Mr.
or
Gayman,
gamesmanship. And that's what
Front Page Africa has been on the ground for years. Front Page Africa has some credibility. By that I mean has reported numerous stories, multiple stories, hundreds of stories that turned out to be true. This might be one of those. Your final comment.
Well, if Front Page Africa does not manufacture the truth and brings it out as it is, this is why we call investigative journalism out. But now we have thought that Front Page Africa and her camera crew will be on ground, that we will be seeing the homes and actually taking a tour of the home and see what it looks like. Instead of taking pictorial from the distance, that is not what I would call credible journalism. No, not at all.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Jerome Gayman, the chief discussant here at our program On Point. Here I focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony C.A. and I'm moderating in this edition of On Point. Mr. Gayman, let's move to our next issue. Darius Dillion, the most powerful candidate in Mosorado County on the side of the CPP, did launch today. I saw a huge crowd lining up behind him as he paraded in the principal streets of Monrovia. We saw the CDC also at the SKD Stadium, where they were accused of paying $20 to citizens of Liberia, coercing them financially to assemble, and they succumbed to do so because that $20 meant that power would be boiling. In the case of Dillion, from what we gather, these were Liberians who have made the determination to join him because they like what he's doing. So, looking at Dillion's launch today, what do you think? Is Dillion winning this thing already?
Listen, Dillion is going to be whooped. It's just a matter of what the margin is going to be. What you are seeing there, even you and I, if we had a drum, we're beating a drum and driving down Broad Street or anything, everybody will converge because people are curious. They want to see what's happening. We also heard that there were about maybe 100,000, 128,000 or 28,000 that are raised in this country to send to pay folks to be in the street also. These are all rumors. There is no proof that anybody pays anybody. So that we know. As far as operating, you saw when Tifa went to all 17 districts, he was met by people from everywhere. So if we were bringing all of those people together, the crowd will be enormous. Well, we put 55,000 people in the stands. SKD, we have another 20,000 people outside that couldn't get in. That as it may be, it boils down to who brings their people to the polls. There's another thing to have 55,000 people in the stands and to have them to the polls. And you know that in this country, we do our poll, internal poll and national poll, and they will tell you this person is going to win. But on Tuesday, it's going to boil down to turnout, and you know that too. So the crowd thing, yes, why both of these people have brought a large crowd, it remains to be seen who's going to have their crowd to the polls. I remember 2017 when Mr. Brunsky, the same light in the same spot, had his luncheon. Basically, the whole south side of Monroe was shut down. Same thing with Mr. Cummings. When he had his luncheon at the Anthony Todman Stadium, you could see nothing but white in and out. When time came, I think he took 5th or 6th place.
Oh, yet, Mr. Gayman, and yet, Mr. Gayman, in the recent by-election between Darius Dillion and the CDC candidate at the time, Paulita Weir, we saw a huge gathering from both sides because you are raising the question that Dillion may bring out people, but he may not have the ability to translate those people into votes to
No,
pull through. But
not just him. Not just him.
I
Both
know, and
parties.
those people, I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to talk about Bronsky. We are talking about senatorial race here. So
Yeah,
don't bring the.
I'm talking about Falah. I gotta be centrist here. I gotta be realistic here.
Mhm.
Thomas Falah, it doesn't matter whether he put 100,000 people in the stadium. If he doesn't get his people to the poll, he's going to lose.
Okay.
Same thing with Darius Dillon.
And
He
I'm
can put a
saying to
million
you,
people in the street.
and I'm
If he
saying to
doesn't
you,
put, if these
I'm
people
saying
do
to
not
you
go to the
that,
poll, yes.
and I'm saying to you, Darius Dillion has a history of turning his supporters into voters on election day. He did that and destroyed the CDC candidate, Paulita Weir. And there are reasons to believe that he's going to do it again. What's your take?
And we have no problem with you thinking that way. But Thomas Falah is not political. We as citizens, we did not do political way of justice. We did not campaign for political way. We did one luncheon. We did one luncheon at the stadium, and we had a party and just left and went home and said it was in the bag. But what we
Are you
learned,
saying CDC was just drinking beer when you guys were campaigning for Paulita Weir and now for Thomas Falah, you have rolled up your sleeves and you are in the trenches? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't have to tell you, you saw it the whole campaign period. We CDC turned out to be a Jehovah Witness party, basically political. We're going from door to door, from district to district, door to door, window to window, you name it, wherever there were people in Montserrat, we were there campaigning. Bill Clinton said it best. No matter how popular you are or how popular people say you are, there is nothing more powerful than looking someone in the eye, shaking their hand, and asking them for their vote. And this is what we are translating into Liberia. Go to the folks. Do not take anybody for granted. If you find out, we have 700,000 voters, registered voters in Montserrat County. Okay, between Pauletta Wee and Darius Dillon. Darius Dillon won by. Darius Dillon had a total vote of 102 or something of that matter.
Yeah, that
And
is correct.
Pauletta Wee had 62. The difference was 38,000 votes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you look at 60,000 and 102,000, we are talking about total vote of 162,000 folks here out of almost a million votes. So obviously people didn't turn out to vote. While most people came out to vote for Darius Dillon, we cannot underestimate that. But let's look at the factors that brought Dillon to power. Okay, we are talking about a new government that has just come into being, that had no money in their coffer. They have problem paying their employees. We have constant protests. We have the collaborating political parties. We have the young folks. This kid they call Christmas Silly. Christmas Silly was actually the tsunami, the brain behind that. All of these things are no longer there. Yes, Mr. Dillon had done a great job by saying, like the last time he said, before asking, what are your tangibles? You have not built one hand pump. He said, you don't need hand pump. You need a senator like me. So that's his belief. He believes that being in the Senate does not require you to build roads, to bring tangible to the district. He says the primary responsibility of a lawmaker is to do oversight. That's what he believes.
Mr. Gayman, and you think he's wrong for saying that?
Yes.
How?
Well, I just visited last week my legislative caucus in my county. The lady came and made her report in my district. She brought home $124 million in the last 12 months. She brought money for the university. She brought $12 million for the local university here.
How did she bring that money home? Because the thing is that we tend not to understand it, Mr. Gayman. The lawmakers are to advocate for certain amount of money to be allocated in the budget for their districts.
That's
and that is
correct.
their role.
That's
And they
correct.
should also be able to advocate or argue what the money will be used for. When
That's
that is
correct.
done, their job is done. Now
That's
that money
correct.
is given to the local administration for that particular locality to
That's
implement
correct.
a project where they provide oversight. So
That's
technically,
correct.
if you look at it, it's not Dallon's role to be building or roads and schools and bridges. His role
Of
is to
course.
advocate for
Of
budgetary
course.
allotment
Of
for those
course.
things.
Of
And so
course.
now
Of
my
course. You
question
see,
is, since
uh-huh.
T5 has been able to
Mm-hmm.
do that, tell
Mm-hmm.
me the roads, the bridges, the hospitals, and schools that T5 has built in his constituency based on his advocacy in the House.
Well, hopefully I don't bore you because I'm going to be reading a
Go
lot to you.
ahead, go
But
ahead. I can give
okay,
you all the time.
Thomas Fala. First of all, when you are in the Senate or in the House, you have to sit on committees. And the most important committee you're going to sit on is appropriation. Appropriation is where the elephant is divided. This is where Ms. Dolores Hawkins Johnson, my representative in the House, when she was in the minority, worked across the aisle and went to the Republicans and said, my local university need $12 million. We need to put in a planetarium. And one of the representatives from Miami said that they needed money for tourism, for big ships. So these people work together and swap votes. Say, well, if you vote for me to get my $12 million, I'm going to vote for you to get the money to afford Miami Harbor to get these ships. So what they have done there is they have provided a cordiality, this friendship, this respect for each other, that they were able to work with each other to appropriate funding for their projects. But if you do not have any friends and you cannot move anything, listen, to make major appropriation in the Senate, you need
Mr.
17
Gayman, you
senators.
said that you were about to read to me his legislative accomplishment, and now you are
Yes,
telling me a part of story. You
no,
show
no,
your
no.
phone, you say you are about to list them, and I'm
I know.
patiently
Listen,
waiting, and you are beating
I'm
around
coming
the
to it, but
bush.
no, I'm trying to educate our friends here who think that everybody, every time they talk to you, say, well, it is not his job to bring anything tangible. His job is oversight. Oversight of what?
So where are the tangibles that you guys will talk about
No,
that
I'm
Fala
coming to
has?
it. You are talking about oversight. Okay, the number two role there is to write law, to make laws. Has Dara Dillon submitted any law? Has he written any bill? Has he
Yes.
introduced any bill?
Yes.
Has he passed any bill?
I don't know about that.
None. None. In 14 months. Okay.
And
Let's
what's
look
about
at that.
Fala?
Let's look at the road you are talking about. Let's look at the SKD Boulevard. Let's look at the roads. What did Dara Dillon when they called him about when the road was being dedicated? He said, Thomas Fala is now serving as the new public works minister for building all these roads. He said Thomas Fala has now usurped the responsibility of the public works. He thinks that the government in power was actually funneling the money through for Thomas Fala for political reasons. Now, that is not the case. What we are talking about here is a man who is going, talking to folks, talking to his colleagues. Even when he was in a minority working with the Ellen government, he worked across the aisle
Mr.
to
Gayman,
build
all these
schools.
stories
Yes.
of Thomas Fala, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how these stories, uh, are felt by people that he represent in the first place. You guys want to boast about his tangibles. Please tell me about the tangibles that Thomas Fala has brought to his district or taken to his district.
I'm just telling you, first of all, there was a young lady who is in China Her neighbor, Manyobe, I think she's from Grand Crew. She said there were 25 of them that were given scholarship out of Thomas Fala's office to go to graduate school all over the world.
Okay.
That's tangible. These are people who are coming out and they're testing and saying, listen.
And that's the only tangible?
No, listen to this. I just gave you roads all over the place, and even
all over the place.
roads.
What's your
And
definition
Dara Dillon,
all over the place? How many
Dara
roads are we
Dillon
talking
said,
about here?
Dara Dillon said the man was the public works minister. That's why he was building the road.
Mr. Gayman, you know in Liberia we have issues with roads. So when you say roads all over the place, what is all over the place?
Well, the man built 4 major roads. I just need one. The SKT Boulevard area 72nd Street that connecting the byway from
by Thomas Fala.
Thomas Fala, yes. Yes.
And what other road did he build?
Oh, let's look at the how they call it, the beer Coca-Cola factory. There were road there. Well, it was not road that was brand new, but he refurbished those roads. That means he lobbied with the administration, and they were able to refurbish those roads. The road that actually that went.
He's been able to do it in 15 years. In 15
years. 15 years. Well, 15 years. I'm telling you all the stuff that he has done. Now your man has been there for 14 months, a year and a half, and has done absolutely nothing. Not even one bill.
Mr. Gayman.
Not one bill.
Mr. Gayman.
Yes.
Mr. Gayman, let me ask you this question. CDC always boasting of having Monserrate County as a stronghold. Dillion launched today with a massive crowd in the principal streets of Monrovia. Dillion did not get to have that kind of march in the previous election that he won anyway. And we want to remind you that President Weah campaigned for Polita Weah because you were saying CDC did not do justice to Polita. President Weah, the man who raises people's hand all the time for them to get political victory. He did that, and that would not stay flat. Dillion now has gotten hold of something politically. You think you guys can beat him with what I say? This man is raising millions of dollars from Liberians, something we have never heard of before. That tells me this man is solid politically. Can the Thomas Fala or the CDC strongman Thomas Fala beat him?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you the dynamics of Monserrate politics.
Mr. Gayman, I see that you are here with low energy today. It seems to be this thing is tough.
No, I'm just telling you, I'm trying to break it down for you to understand the politics of Monrovia.
Go ahead.
The Monserrate politics. Okay. Monserrate, the home of the old order, they have built a fort. Okay? We know the history of Liberia, the 40 square miles radius. They have built a fort. You have taken Bassa, you have taken Bon County, we can't get Nimba, we can't get this, we can't get that. But we are like Costa, we're going to put up a last stand. That is Monserrate. We are going to do all we can to make sure that we do not. You saw what Dillion was doing. He went and lied down on Joseph Jenkins Roberts' grave, prostrated. He left from there. He went to Duco, the dirty Duco River, and he drank from that Duco, that dirty river. All symbolic of telling the old order, I may not be the man you want, I may not have the education, I may not have the gravitas, but I'm the only man you got. So yes, the old order have rallied around Dillion, and they will do as much as they can. There's a lot of old money in Monrovia. You can't discount that. We know this, okay? And you're talking about things that have rattled the old order. Those building contracts, those leases that were the bastion of the old order, where they were sitting in this country and drawing $300,000, $200,000, $100 rent every January 5th. Those things have been cut.
Mr. Gayman, I don't think Dillion is that kind of candidate you are painting.
Yes, he is. We know this because
you are a Bassa man. Dillion is a Bassa man. We know Dillion. He's a man from humble beginning. He has no history of his father or parents being rich. Dillion was walking by lines a few years ago, even though we saw him in the Ellen Johnson. So the pictures you're painting that he is this connected guy to the political elite, I don't know if that is true. But my question, Mr. Gayman, is Dillion has now come out as a transformational candidate, somebody who is raising money from voters. I've never heard that before in Liberia. Whereas your candidate is dividing money using cash violence. And we've seen the cash violence before. Let me tell you who did that. Rabbi Salif did that, he got flogged. Vanish Shimon did that, he got flogged. Clemency Ure used that, he got flogged. So why would make you to think that Thomas Fallaway cash value of buying endorsement in every nook and cranny of Moravia's going to win this thing when the people are like, giving money to Dillion for him to win?
If what you see, for those of us who are in the social sciences, we look at optics, we look at symbolism. What you were talking, how much did he raise in Monrovia? We do the Photoshop, photo optic, where someone come to you and say, I'm giving you $40, I'm giving you $30, I'm giving you $20. I've watched one of his rallies. They raised $270. This is the campaign they are running. It's not a $270 campaign. You can do that. So that's similar. The money is coming, like the first election. The first election was bankrolled by Mr. Uri, and he thought that his daughter being in the race, it would have been an opportune time for his daughter to get into the house. By extension, he being there, and his next project would have been to make her his daughter Speaker of the House.
That didn't happen. You're telling me about Terry Ure?
No, I'm telling you now. I'm telling you. I'm giving you an example of how he got here. So when you're talking about the man who is making what, $200,000, $270,000 a year in the House, in the Senate, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That is a far cry from what he was when he ran a year ago. And don't forget, this man was around with Charles Taylor. He works in that environment since Charles Taylor time. So he is not a newcomer to politics in Monrovia. He couldn't have done that in Bassa because we know him very well in Bassa. So he did what the preachers do. Do not assign a preacher to
Dillion, yes. You are right. Dillion has been around for some time. He's been with Charles Bronski. He's been with Unity Party. He's been around. He's been more like a political bad ball for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. But to his credit, while he had a gravy before him, he walked away from that gravy and went into opposition. But this is my question, Mr. Gayman. How did
he walk away from that gravy? When he took the scholarship, he came and squandered our money.
You have the opportunity to go ahead. Your shot there. And what I'm saying here is that Dillion walked away from the gravy and he went into opposition. And Dillion is saying he is a credible candidate with no record of any indictment or investigation whatsoever into any financial misappropriation. But he is accusing your candidate, Thomas Falla, of being under investigation for the China Union money and also for taking money from government in the name of scholarship for students at his school. So don't you see Dillion as a much credible candidate compared to your candidate who has been in government for 15 years?
Oh, but let's go back to 1997 when Charles Taylor took over, when Dillion was part of that. Let's go from 1997 to where we are. That's more than 20 years. That's actually 23, 24 years. So he's been in government longer than that. Now let's look at, you're talking about, when we're talking about inflammatory innuendos, you're talking about, even at a debate, the young man, we call him an academic escapee. He never graduated from high school. He came to the United States with a fraudulent a college diploma. He said he graduated from LU in 1998, which turned out to be a lie. That's a fraud. Academic fraud is fraud. That should land you in jail. Then his boyfriend, Robert Selly, brought him to the United States, gave him a scholarship to Australia University, not even one of the top universities, and he couldn't last a semester. If you didn't graduate from Wellhaston High School and drop out in the 7th grade, there's no way you're going to go to any credible university or college or community college and do well. Ask your boy
And yet
Costa been in school for 12 years. He
this
can't graduate
guy
from high school.
who could not graduate from high school, if
Mm-hmm.
I should quote you, and who also classifies himself as a third grader, will go on to beat your indomitable CDC in a landslide victory in a campaign that your Dr. Bwekubwe, who you call the political messiah of Liberia, if he has ever been, he will go on to beat them. And you said here that you think he's nothing?
Well, I'm not saying he's nothing. Okay, he is basically a lightweight. He's like a flea. Okay, he sticks onto anything that has blood and he sucks it. The gentleman is just like people were talking about Trump and all of that. Trump came from nowhere and defeated 17 credible candidates, including Jeb Bush and everybody else. So yes, in politics, these are anomaly. They happen.
And you
Okay,
are
but have no
Dillion,
basis. They
and
have
you
no
are
basis in
accusing
fact.
Dillion of being a boyfriend to Rabot Salif. I mean, what do you
Yes,
mean by that?
everybody knows the relationship between
I
him
don't know it,
and
so tell me what that
okay,
is.
I'm telling you, just like Mr. Cummings said, he struggled with our lifestyle. Dylan also struggled with our
What
lifestyle
lifestyle
when
are
he
you
was
talking
hanging.
about, Mr. Gayman?
Everybody knows that Robert Selly is a renowned gay homosexual. Everybody knows that, and everybody that hangs with him that we know of are people of that same characteristics. We know that that scholarship that Dylan won, Dylan didn't win it by merit. He didn't. It was not based on merit because merit would have been that for you to come to the United States, you have taken your TOEFL, you have taken all of those exams. If you graduate school, you will do your GRE. But no, he came from there based on connections. He came and went to Australia. Thank God he went to a private institution that would listen and take
Mr.
money.
Gayman, you are
Yes,
accusing
I am.
Darius DeLong
Yes, of
of
being gay.
having
Yes,
any
yes.
sexual relationship
With
to
Robert
do
Salif.
with Rabot Salif.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gayman, are you sure of this? Do
Unequivocally.
you have the
Un-
facts and the evidence to prove this
un-
wild accusation that you are raising against the character of Darius DeLong?
the gentleman asked him why he didn't take scholarship from Neil Jones. He never took scholarship from George Weah. He never took scholarship from Urey. He never took scholarship from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was sending the students to mostly state universities and Ivy League. Why did Robert Sirleaf choose him to send him to Washington, D.C. with all expense paid? What did he do? What earned him that request? And we have seen them. You've seen them together in intimate posts where they sit close and in area where men don't sit that way. We all know that, but it is hidden in plain secret. We all know that. So I know.
Mr.
Uh,
Gayman, I
mhm.
mean, this accusation you are raising against the character of Darius DeLong, this is my first time hearing that, so I'm in a state of shock, and you don't have the evidence to prove this. But let leave it at that. Let me progress. I don't want to get into things that I can't prove, and we will not allow those kind of accusations to be talked about here on this platform. But if you want us to play it fair, let's talk about accusations of. Let me leave that. Let's come to the referendum, Mr. Gayman. The referendum is now in full swing, according to the president. He said he has broken no law and the referendum will go on as planned. legal luminaries in Liberia, including former I think Chief Justice Gloria Musu said that there are procedural errors that completely render the process unconstitutional, and she have asked the government to postpone the referendum, made the necessary correction through a joint resolution so that the referendum can be done properly according to the law. But the president is saying, no, it's not going to happen. It's going to go on. Is the CDC that you support uh, a party that believes and respects the rule of law?
Mususka should be ashamed of herself. She's a sycophant. Okay? She is basically a political misfit, a legal misfit. It was she that led the initial referendum from state to state, from county to county. It was she who led the referendum. The referendum was under her leadership that it came to the Ellen Johnson administration that shelved it. President Weir is just implementing. If you talk to, even I was listening to Wetty the other day, and he had an extensive interview with Front Page Africa, where he praised the president because he has been working on this from Scott's time through Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. They have been working on it for years, I think 2013. And finally, the president is implementing it when it's good, when it's in their favor, they like it. They say, we got a blueprint, go ahead and do it, but we have the blueprint. When George Weah built school, they say it's our blueprint. When George Weah built road, they say it's our blueprint. One of their blueprints, which is the referendum, the only difference between this referendum and the original one was that the referendum, the initial referendum, needed 4 years for president, 6 years for the Senate, and 2 years for representative, just as it is in the United States.
Note, what stopped the president and the party and supporters of the referendum from sticking to what was agreed on and documented as the way to go with any referendum or constitutional reform whatsoever? Why are they deviating from it?
Well, if you look at a document that was signed by Dillion and everybody else, the referendum was brought to the floor in both houses from concurrence. And obviously, some of us knew it was for selfish reasons that they negotiated. For this to pass, they needed to add 1 more year to the presidency, which were 5. They needed not 6, but to add 1 more year to the Senate, which is now 7, and so forth. That was the compromise that was signed. That's why the Supreme Court says it was legal, because the representative of the people agree in the final stage to tweak what was sent to them from the outside. So it was legal. The representative of the folks, their representative and the Senate passed the law and signed on this.
Mr. Gayman, I get that. I get that.
Now, what they are saying, the bigger contention from Musu Scott and from Dillion, who signed in favor of this, said there was not enough time to educate our folks as to what this is all about. And
Mr.
the contrary,
it's not only the matter of time, it's not only the matter of providing the necessary education. There are many things they talk about. But the Association of Legal Minds in Liberia, that is the National Bar Association, these are Liberia's lawyers coming up and saying, hey, there are procedural errors here. Article 93 is not being amended, and you are amending the rest of the article that are connected to it. You are setting up, maybe I should use the word cleverly, a scenario where the president, should this thing be passed into law, where he can have the opportunity to contest for a third term. Is this what the government is up to here?
No, absolutely not. The Constitution is very clear on terms that everybody that is elected has to do only 2 terms. We understand the opposition is now saying when this referendum passes to the 5 year, that will begin a new constitution, and obviously that would make Georgia's first term moot. That's not so. It wouldn't happen. My argument was that if Georgia was elected under this government, under this constitution called for 2 terms of 12 years or 6 years, which would be 12. But when that constitutional amendment kicks in, it will automatically cut him down from serving 12 years to serving 11 years. That's 6 plus 5. Okay? He will serve 2 terms and he would be, like I said, he would be a historic transformational president. This man does not believe in power. Okay? He believes in empowering folks. George Weah is, like I said, he is so magnetic. He does not want to
Why
hold
will
on
he
to
not
power.
break it to 4 years if he does not believe in power? He's giving himself 6 years. I mean, 5 years.
Yeah, but listen to this. The House and the Senate, in their appropriation, said the government does not have the wherewithal financially to be holding election, that which I think is bogus, but I think this was they were saving their own behind by saying, my man, 4 years is not enough. If we give you 1 year, you give 1 year to everybody else so we can be there 7 years, which I think was bogus, but that's what they agree on. They agree that 5 years and 7 years is what they would do, just like they did with the salary thing. There is no law in the book that I have looked at that tells you that the people make House of Representatives makes this amount fixed. It's not there. They come in and they come up with all the bogus law. I was surprised to find out that Dillion's salary is about $300 a month. And the rest of the $15,000 is called benefits. So if any lawmaker tells you that they're going to waive their salary to charity, it's the $300 portion, which is absolutely nothing. These guys, I don't want to call them all crooks, but they are selfish people, and nobody has actually gone there to say, let us do this. So everybody else over there, I will tell you, they are selfish folks. And that's why nobody wants to go into the private sector, because for a group of guys that work basically 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, okay, and make more money than the senators in the United States.
That is true. That is true, Mr. Gayman. I agree with you, and we can also hold your candidate Thomas Father, who has been there for 15 years, who has been the chairman on Ways, Means, and Finance. Somebody, Samuel Tuer, called the finance minister. He has been responsible partly to all the. Let me read some comments. I get your reaction, and then we close the broadcast. We hit our 1 hour mark. Frank Gibson, right? You are too excited. What do you think? I don't know who you're talking of, Frank. Frank again. They should have tried their strength at the SKD. So the CDC is supposed to have tried their strength at the SKD. Apparently, he's not impressed with what he saw. There were a lot of empty spaces. And here the CDC would be jubilating as though they have accomplished anything with that blue day march, they call it. You forgot to add Dakmana. That was when you were calling the president doctor, doctor, doctor. I don't know where he going with all these, ceremonial doctor's degree or doctorate degrees that don't put bread on people's table. Juliet Brown, T5 victory is sure, she writes. Jimmy Eastman is watching. D. Lois Johnson, you are a praise singer. And I think that viewer is going after you, Mr. Gayman. You are a praise singer, this person, right? And Johnson writes again, this make me say you need to stop this. No, I'm not going to read that part. It's so offensive. If you keep writing comments like this, I'm not going to read them. Nathan Kwan, sorry if I'm butchering your name yet, Nathan. President Weah himself was on the campaign trail for Polita Weah. Emmanuel Shemon, he's about to shoot himself in the leg. Who you talking about, Dillion or T5? Vanny Wright, this host is not informed at all about happening in Liberia. Please ask sensible questions. That person is coming after me viciously. That I am not asking sensible questions. Blawa Hene, why will you credit development program project during the President Saleh administration to Falah, but can't credit development project program during Wia's administration to Dillion? That person is asking a question. Emmanuel Shema, Mr. Gayman is not a good defender. He's not answering the questions on the dot. I agree with you. The man is dodging the questions. Francis Toulé writes, look at this other praise singer. How many bills did Joshua write in 3 years in the Senate? Please write that one down. Your man was in the Senate for 3 years. How many bills did he submit in the first place? Frank Gibson again, this guy who claimed to be a journalist is funny. This is the lone supporter. Somebody is coming after me. I'm claiming to be a journalist. I'm funny. Frank Gibson again. You lie, Mr. Journalist. Dillion didn't say that. Stop lying. They are coming after me viciously. Francis Toulé writes, Dillion didn't graduate, but he has more sense than you. Somebody is coming after you there. You are not even answering the question. Why, as they are asking you, they ask you, he writes, Francis Toulé again, this Gayman guy is a disgrace. You're sitting here calling a decent married man gay and can't even say his own name, Mr. Gayman. All right, few comments there, Mr. Gayman. Your reaction to the comments, and please answer the one, because you are saying Dillion did not write any bill for the 14 months he been there. President Weah was there for 3 years. Any bill that he wrote?
Listen, President Weah was in the Senate for 3 years. Remember, he was actually the face of the Liberian government. When Ellen Johnson gave him a specific tasks to be the goodwill ambassador.
Did he write any bill?
Listen, I'm telling you, we talk about work. It's not just about bill, but what have you done in the Senate for the Liberian people?
About bill. You accuse Dillion of not writing any bill whatsoever. So we are asking you about President Weah, who you support, whether he did that.
I will pull it up.
3 years, and Dillion asked about a year. So tell us if President Weah did at all. Be man enough to say that.
I'm telling you, on President Weah was not in the Senate per se, because he was always on the international scene trying to sell Liberia.
He was elected to be in the Senate, but he was not in the Senate for 3 years.
Yeah, because the president used him as a goodwill ambassador abroad.
Was that his responsibility to be goodwill ambassador when the people of Monserrado County elected him at the Senate to represent them? And you are admitting here that he abandoned his elective responsibility and started being a goodwill ambassador because that's why he's good at. And he
didn't abandon. He added.
Well, you say
Dr. Weah was doing more for Liberia than even the president, because he was more popular on the international scene that Liberia needed that face. I will tell you, I don't have it with me here, but I'm going to.
Did nothing more for Liberia than Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. That is
wasn't he the goodwill ambassador for Liberia?
What did he do as a senator for Liberia?
Tell me, wasn't he the goodwill ambassador?
What did he do for Liberia as a senator? Did he pass a bill for the 3 years he served as senator? Did he?
Listen, that's why you put somebody there that said they were the light. They had all the instrumental kind. We told you that this man, Darrell Dillion, was not equipped, he could barely read. And you said that he was coming in at the light and he was going to change. You used the term transformational. But why has he transformed? There's a man who is a wife beater. He beat his wife. His mother-in-law made it clear. He beat his wife. The man is guilty of domestic violence. He beat his wife. And worst of all, his brother is a murderer. And in the Liberian Constitution, Liberian jurisprudence, murder is a non-billable act. And Darrell Dillion used his position to bail his brother out. This gentleman is ratty. He is ratty. Darrell Dillion is a wife beater. We know that. Domestic violence. You want to compare him to Dr. George Weah? You want to compare him to bad raw medicine?
So, Mr.
You want to
Gayman,
compare him to
you
bad
have
village
chosen to not
medicine?
answer
Are you
question.
seeing all the beautiful buildings? Are you seeing
You
the
have
villages
chosen to
being
not answer
transformed?
question.
What question?
The question is, did President Weah pass any bill for the 3 years he was
I'm telling you
elected by
what
the people
President
of
Weah is
Montserrat
doing
County?
now. I am telling you how he's transforming lives, how he's making Liberia great again.
All right.
How Liberia is being great. George Minor Weah and Thomas Fala, they will make a good duo. And the Liberian people on Tuesday, don't call me here to cry that somebody stole the election, because we're going to beat him like a market dog. We're
So,
going to beat
Mr.
him like
Gayman,
he
saying you
stole
will not
something.
answer the question, finally, your
Uh-huh.
party has 15 candidates. The opposition has 15 candidates in the midterm election or the by-election. Tell me, how many of those seats your party going to win?
Let me start from the far southeast, where
Yeah, Mr. Gayman, be brief because we hit our 1 hour. We have another
okay,
show coming up.
we are going to win the whole southeast.
Okay.
Period. Jeremiah Kuhn is going to win in Nima.
Mm-hmm.
Yala is going to win in Bon County.
Mm-hmm.
Besonga Finley is going to pull it off in Grand Bassa County.
Mm-hmm.
Watson is going to retain his seating in Cape Mount. We're going to beat Dara Dillon in Maserati. The only place where we are having a little doubt, it is 50-50 now. We know that what is gentleman name? Johnson is out in Bombing territory, Bombing County.
Mm-hmm.
He's out. Senator Johnson is out.
And your
So
candidate, Alex Tyler, a man who was indicted
yes,
for corruption, who earned the
yes.
nickname Corruption King Kong. Are you proud of him? Is he going to win?
Tyler stands a very good chance of winning in Bombing, but we can work with either he or Snow. Our job is anybody but Johnson. Tyler stands a very good chance because Tyler is a son of Bommy. Snow is a carpetbagger. He moved there doing some great things, but he's not
So,
a
Mr.
son of the
Gayman,
place.
you are saying out of the 15, you might be able to win 10 or 12. Is that what you're saying?
13. We're going to win 13.
You're going to win 13. Thank you
That's
very
correct.
much. Thank you very much. We have to wrap it up here because of time. Mr. Jerome Gayman is the chief discussant on our program here on Point, and we want to let you know he is a sedition, so expect that he will discuss the issue and making sure that his side uh, is on a favorable side, and we just want you to understand that. And that is the essence of politics. People have their side, they defend their side, they promote their side, and he is showing me that propos call that does not put bread on my people table in Grand Cru. Maybe I have to send $5 before they eat. That is Jerome Gayman. Folks in cyberspace, we can't thank you enough for always following our show here at Focus on Liberia. I brought you our program on point. Today, I want you to vote right now. Vote and tell me whether the chief discussant was on point on the issue. He was dodging the question. Right and tell me no, he was on point, or just yes if he was on point. The viewers are going to grade you. I want to be seeing the result right now. Those who are watching, is he on point or was he on point in the discussion? My evaluation, you were not on point. You dodged so many questions, but I know cleverly that's what you do. You are discussing on our
I
pool.
answer all the questions. I answer all the questions to the
On
point.
our
All the
pool.
questions.
On our pool.
Satisfactorily.
Yeah, on our pool, we asked the question: who will win in Montserrat County? According to our tally here, 21 people voted to say Darius Dillion, the CPP candidate, will win Montserrat County. Whereas Thomas Fala, the CDC, the Coalition for Democratic Change candidate will win in Montserrat County. Darius Dillion, 21 vote constitutes 70% of the vote cast, whereas Thomas Fala 9 votes constitutes 30%. And so if we were looking at this politically, this is a landslide victory for Darius Dillion. Again, this is just a sampling of the people who watch this broadcast and in no way suggests definitively that Darius Dillion will be the winner, but it might also well be the case. Folks in cyberspace, we can't thank you enough. Mr.
Thank
Gayman,
you,
your parting
cyberspace. Don't
comment.
vote in Liberia.
Yeah, your parting comment, Mr. Gayman, so we can close.
Well, I want to actually commend the CPP camp and obviously the CDC camp. Overall, the campaign have been very civil and polite, violence-free, with the exception of what is happening in Cape Mount. And you have to take your hat out to the two groups, because for the rhetoric from the beginning, everybody thought that this was not going to be possible. So we want to thank the CPP folks and the CDC folks for being so civil and giving everybody the chance to campaign. We are hoping that everybody, no matter how large or how small your crowd is, you got to make sure that they get to the poll. This is the democracy we have been fighting for. Get your folks to the poll, and let's accept whoever wins. Let's build Mama Liberia.
Well said, Mr. Gayman. There's nothing I have to add to that other than to tell you the voters here are saying no, 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 you were not on point on the issue. But that is their opinion, and I know you respect that. I respect that. And this is all for intellectual exchange so that we can be able to promote our democracy in Liberia free of violence and also accepting the results when they are credible. On that note, folks, that usual song that says, "We are all Liberians" is coming your way as the indication that we are ending this broadcast. Immediately after this broadcast, we are having another broadcast that is coming on. A gentleman by the name Abraham Dode. He supports Darius Dillion. He will be here to make the final campaign page for candidate Darius Dillion. He will be quizzed seriously on the issues that are happening in the country and whether or not Darius Dillion will be able to maintain that Senate seat. Watch out for that broadcast that will be coming on momentarily. On that note, folks, enjoy the song and bye-bye.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Either you raise it or we want. Liberia. Either you raise it or we want. Freedom in Liberia.